go. I had the right calls. I just didn't put the right teams together.
The story of DFS. What's going on, everybody? Here we are live Sunday, May 26th. I am back. I'm keeping the pizza bites behind me because I am the pizza bite champ. Emac, what'd you think of my performance?
I thought it was phenomenal. I never doubted you for a moment. It was classic near the end when Chris was trying to ask you questions and you were saying, I was sitting there going, Josh is trying to make lineups. He has just said he's having trouble forming words, and yet Chris is pounding him with more questions. I asked him about that. He goes, yeah, I kind of had to do that.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't. I wouldn't have had it any other way. It was fantastic. I don't ever want to do that again. I still have an extra 50 bag of pizza bites in the freezer right now that are probably going to hang out there for a hot minute. Yesterday was rough, just real sluggish to start the day. Didn't get better. And it only got worse as the night went on Friday night. Just an uncomfortable amount of food. But, like I said, there was never a doubt. 100 up, 100 down. Certainly didn't want those two extras that I made, though. They were not at all appealing. Those first 20 that I ate, it's like a delicacy. I'd have paid good money for that, not just $2 for a bag of 50.
So I just thought of this, and this ties in well with baseball. So my buddy, his name's is Makram Abulhassan, but we call him Mac.
Come again?
And Makram Abulhassan is his name. He's Lebanese.
Okay.
So he's a podiatrist out there on Mercer Island, Seattle, for anybody that's out that way. Oh, wait, DFS is illegal there, so nobody's watching from there. No. But we were probably just out of college, and he made a bet with someone at one of the Mariners games that he could eat 40 of the chocolate malts.
What, like Whoppers?
The frozen malts. So like
40 milkshakes?
Yeah, basically.
How big are they?
You eat it with a wooden spoon, like that kind of ice cream.
So kind of like a Wendy's Frosty?
Yes, but it's frozen.
Fully? Like hard ice cream?
Yes. And then it kind of melts as you're holding it, and you eat it with a wooden spoon and all that. So we sold out. We got 50 people because we got discounted tickets. So 50 of us went. We made a big sign for him that had a drawing of 40 little milkshake things. And each time he got through one, we'd tape a wooden spoon across it to signify that he'd got it. So he got to about 17 and was dying. But every time he finished, our whole section would stand up and yell something about Max Malt Night Crew. And then we got the sections on either side of us when he'd finished would stand up and start cheering too. And people were buying malts and sending them over for him to eat.
Yeah.
So, he had to go to the bathroom and relieve the gastrointestinal.
I bet. That sounds rough. Once I knew how much volume was in 100 pizza bites, I knew what was what. Like, I just knew that I could put away 3.25 pounds of food. So that there was no doubt at that point. But it got dicey at the end. That repetitive. I got tired of chewing. That's not something that I was. That's not something I contemplated at the start. Yeah. I thought about just trying to swallow them whole, and I was just like, that seems like I'll die on a live stream. Get one of those lodged in the old throat, and everybody just forced to watch me choke to death.
I was worried when we found out your wife was not home, and we're like, can you send a message before you go to bed just so we know you haven't gone into a coma of some sort?
I'm sure she was very happy to not be in attendance for this one. Enough about my pizza bite behaviors. Today is Sunday. We've got a 10.5 game slate going. 10 games on FanDuel, 11 on DK. DK just had to go and make it real interesting considering the game they're including is a Coors game with what amounts to be a 7.5 run implied total is what I have right now. That's a pretty big number. So it might not be a late night hammer, but it's an early afternoon hammer coming from Colorado. Let's hit the normal plugs. MLB Strategies, the promo code 50% off your first month with us. Any monthly package you choose, including packages with Fantasy Cruncher. If you're looking to get into NASCAR, Coca-Cola 600 today, we'll have NASCAR projections up if you're interested. WNBA projections are being posted now. Tons of fun stuff for you to check out. So MLB Strategy, that's the code you want to use, 50% off. And We are brought to you by Yahoo Sports. Yahoo once again running the $3 no management fee tournament. Is it already filled? Already filled. Took too long to get to it. If you didn't get to it now, this is 3 straight days now. They've run the $3 contest, 10 max entries, no management fee whatsoever. That's what we're trying to recommend to everybody. That's the best contest you are going to find anywhere. Anytime they're running a contest without a management fee, you should be entering that contest first. And that's why it's already filled with 2 hours to go before lock. Can't beat it. If you want to sign up for Yahoo, I dropped the link in chat. Use the promo code AWESOMO when signing up, and you can get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. Those $30 would cover the entire 10 max of entries into that $3 contest. If you're interested to do it, it'll basically pay for itself once. Can't beat that whatsoever. Emac, what do you think of this slate?
I was just checking. Is everybody including the Colorado game today?
FanDuel is not.
Because
and then Yahoo includes everything, obviously.
Yahoo includes. I see what I had done. I did not filter it appropriately. Okay, there we go. And this is something new, and we talked about it last week because they were including it. They had, because it was a Texas game. They'd been, for the last 2 years, leaving out these 3 o'clock games, which is either Texas or Cougars or sometimes both.
Chris Paddock scratched. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but that's obviously interesting news for the slate.
All right, well, now I'm down to 2 pitchers I sort of trust instead of 3. Shoot.
Didn't mean to cut you off there, but I certainly didn't see that one coming. Robbie Erlin getting the start in place of Chris Paddock. Well, that's kind of a bummer because I was not going to have any Paddock, so now it just kind of rearranges things. Well, all right. Robbie Erlin, come on down. Wonder why he's getting scratched. I didn't see it.
I don't know, but that means, God, this is today's like the day where they're just killing me with the names because we have Domingo Herman Marquez. We've got Eflin and Erlin.
Oh.
The only thing missing is Cashner and Archer. These are all names. The way my brain works, it's called dyslexic. I get them confused. Same thing with, and then how I remember things like Drew Pomeranz and Drew Smiley were both on the slate the other day. So there's just certain ones where you just kind of file it away in your mind, and you're like, you see the shape, and then you're like, okay, that's this. And I'm sitting here going, good God, they get these people backwards all the time. Cashner and Archer confuse the hell. I mean, that's like an anagram of each other's name, but
Archer is on the slate. Cashner was last night.
Cashner was yesterday. It was lining up, Josh, that we were going to have that, and then throw in multiple Lopez, and there we go.
Multiple Lopi?
Party, the Lopi.
Time to figure out how deep Robbie Erlin goes into games. I have no clue whatsoever. Apparently not deep. Full reliever this year, so we're going to be getting a bullpen game in that one. Always good to know. Let me just change those innings, and then I'm good to go. We'll give Erlin 2 1/3. 2 2/3. Close enough. Unreal. Barely even started, and we're already... Stuff's already going crazy.
Well, shout out in the chat there to Josh Dalen. He got second in the FanDuel $5.55 contest.
Nice. I hope that the payout was normal. Good and not normal, I guess. Who knows? $15K to first, $100 to second.
Yeah.
The rate that we've been going.
Well, they have that DK's got that NFL or the NBA $1 million contest. Basically, it's a winner take all for $1 million.
Yeah. Lovely payout structure. They did do a really nice job, DraftKings, on that $10 on Friday. Really flattened out the top. It was really interesting. It's better today. It was awful yesterday. But I don't know. Maybe they're starting to listen. You ready to break down some of these games?
I'm good to go here. I'm just looking at the payout now because I want to see it of that contest. So it's $25 to get in. I've won 8 tickets. You guys can still win some tickets. It's going to be on the 30th. It's $1 million to first, and 10th place gets $10,000.
Oh my God!
I'm looking forward to seeing the 258 weight shot for first.
Can you imagine if somebody hit it on the nose solo?
Oh, I can imagine me doing it.
I can't imagine me doing it because I can't imagine good things happening to me. I don't totally expect anything positive when I enter anything. So it ends up being positive. I leave myself room to be surprised, but I go into every slate with very low expectations. All right, time to do it. We've got 10.5 games to talk about, depending on which slate you're paying on. Blue Jays and Padres first up, and we're already throwing this one immediately into the garbage, at least from an expectation perspective. 3.7 run implied total for the Jays is what we had. 4.2 for the Padres. It was 55% chance to win for San Diego. Marcus Stroman going for Toronto. Not Chris Paddock going for the Padres. It is now Robbie Erlin. You don't have to worry about Robbie Erlin, this is fantastic. $8,200 on DraftKings today. Not sure I'm going to get to him at that number. Seems a hair high.
He's 5,500 on FanDuel, and he is 25 on Yahoo. He's sort of potentially in play on Yahoo just for some extreme salary relief, but I've got some other guys I like a little better. Better not going to be an impediment. Oh, and shocker, he's very expensive on Fantasy Draft. Wonder how that happens.
Yeah, it's no need to play the, at best, 3-inning reliever for 8,200 on DK today. That much I can tell you guys.
No.
I do want to see if the line has dropped.
It looks like this is a fantasy site, but it's 4.1 for San Diego and 3.6 for
it has not hit the
books yet.
No major changes. I assume that it'll come down a little bit. I would guess that San Diego still it'll be close.
Oh, what did you say it was to start? Maybe those numbers are the same.
4.2 runs for the Padres, 3.7 for the Blue Jays.
Okay, yeah, so it hasn't hit there yet. That's just off by a tenth either way. So,
alrighty. Do you have any interest in Marcus Stroman?
A tiny bit. 7,400 on DK, which I'm playing DK and Yahoo today are my two sites. So I like him on DK. He's 33 on Yahoo, so he's sort of in play. Going against Padres team that does have with the, let me see. Do we have? Yeah, we just got their lineup. So looking at their lineup, still a reasonable amount of strikeouts in that lineup, particularly towards the bottom half with Renfroe, Myers, France, and Allen. Now, France and Allen don't have a lot of sample size with them because they've only recently been in the show here. Sure. But Stroman, heavy ground ball, just over 60% going back to the beginning of last season. His strikeout rate tends to be between 18 and 20. Just kind of dependent on the year. So he does have strikeout stuff, but he's more content to just go back and let the defense do the work. Very few fly balls. So the only guys I would really want against him would probably be Hunter Renfroe. I'd be fine with Machado, and then you probably throw Hosmer in there as well. But that would be a 3-man or a differentiation stack for me. I'd rather still side with Stroman somewhat.
Okay. Yeah, I like Stroman. I think he's perfectly reasonable in that mid-tier. He's rarely a guy I end up getting a lot of. He's just sort of ends up being a guy that I'm tolerant of. He's a much better real-life pitcher than he is a DFS pitcher. I don't want to sell him short as a DFS pitcher because he's good, but it's just not normally the package of skills that you're looking for real high-end upside. I had 4 unupdated lineups there, so I just refreshed the 4 that I didn't have, hopping back into everything now. Man, I'm really excited for this slate. I don't know why. I love playing in the middle of the day.
Yeah, we get another one tomorrow too.
Yes, we do. Okay, I've got my data back. So if I'm looking at this right now, I have a little bit of interest in the Padres on FanDuel. I think that's an interesting spot for them. They seem a little bit less interesting on DK for me. I mean, Machado at 4K on DraftKings with dual eligibility is always a guy that I am interested in. I'd say the Padres are looking to be like a mid-tier stack. If I look at Alex's projections for these guys, Machado and Hosmer looking pretty nice. Hunter Renfroe as well. They're probably the 3 best options coming from the site projections right now. I don't expect to get to a ton of this game. There's just better offensive spots out there, but I think I'll have a little bit of San Diego. I don't get the sense that I'll have much Blue Jays outside of maybe Vlad one-offs.
All right. Let's see here.
Blue Jays look really good on Yahoo, by the way.
Yes. We've got, let me see here. So Stroman, I just want to see our buddy in chat, Sean B, says Stroman wants to go to San Diego, so he should pitch well today.
Who doesn't?
I was trying to see if he had any ties in there. Born in New York. And then, Cesar, I see you're in chat. Yes, we'll get you that free subscription. Hang tight. The guys that are doing it are on air, so we'll get you. I promise.
It's not immediate. It's not immediate.
I promise. But congrats to winning that one. We've got on here going to the other side, Josh, going against Robbie Erlin. The guys that would be intriguing, I guess, are going to be Grichuk, probably Vlad Jr., and then we don't have that lineup yet, do we? I'm assuming Lourdes Gurriel is back up from the minors and should be in the lineup, so he's okay. Let's get a quick price check on him. He is 2,600, 30 on FanDuel, 33 on DK, and 8 on Yahoo. So there's one of your salary relief guys.
Yeah, really easy to get to the Blue Jays if you're comfortable stacking on Yahoo, because these guys are super cheap. No one above $12 in their lineup. That's super, super, super cheap. I can't believe we only need 5 more lineups at this point, and we're 2 hours short of lock. Exciting.
Indeed.
I don't have anything else here. Just make sure you're not playing Chris Paddock, because you're going to get a 0, I promise. To the Mets we go. 4.5 run implied total for the Mets, 3.5 for the Tigers, 61% chance to win for New York. Zack Wheeler going for the Mets, Spencer Turnbull going for the Tigers. This is where you find your chalk. 59% expected ownership for Wheeler on Yahoo, 35 on FanDuel, 38 on DraftKings. I'm not entirely sure what any of these sites were doing with regards to their price, especially DraftKings, who is usually out in front of this, but getting Zack Wheeler against the Tigers, I mean, this is the safest spot you'll find in terms of matchups. His salary is so cheap that you don't even have to really care about the safety. He would have been an interesting play with another $1,000 on his price tag. I have a hard time not recommending Zack Wheeler as, one of, if not the best overall dollar for dollar pitching plays on any site. How do you feel about Wheeler?
He is going to be my most rostered pitcher. I have not done crunches yet because there's still enough lineups coming in, but I imagine I will be looking to get about 50% of him just so I can work in some of the Coors Field hitters. He is a guy that's in my shell lineup along with his counterpart, Spencer Turnbull. So those were going to be my core pitching options along with Paddock today. So I'm kind of rethinking who's going to be in that mix, but I'm fine with going on half my rosters with both these guys just from price point alone. Looking at Wheeler going against this Detroit lineup, the Detroit lineup is just, it's not good. I can't even think of words to say. They don't have a lot of power outside of Nick Castellanos, Christian Stewart, and tiny bit with Nico Goodrum. Heimer Candelario apparently was a flash in the pan. He's back in the minors. You've got Miggy Cabrera, who has 1 home run this season. 1. It's not there anymore. Now he's not in the lineup because no DH. So you're taking a lineup that doesn't have a lot of good hitters and taking away their DH. Wheeler, absolutely solid play. As you mentioned, if he was 9,600, I'd be saying the exact same thing I'm saying right now. But he is someone I'm definitely seeing a lot of my plans, and it looks like he's going to be about 40% right now. I bet that number goes up once the Paddock ownership update comes through. So I don't think I'll be getting that much over the field, but I think this is just a really good spot. Going against the Tigers is the AL version of going against the Marlins.
Yeah, for sure. Cossack, how are you going to be like Wheeler is always chalk and he's mediocre? 3 separate starts this season with 10 plus Ks going 7 innings, only 1 walker, no walks. Not always. That's 30% of his starts where he's just going out there and rolling people. Now he gets the good matchup at 8,600. Look, can the Tigers go out there and smash him up? Of course, this is baseball, but Verlander's got a tough matchup. Trevor Bauer's got a tough matchup. I know how much Trevor Bauer owns the Astros and blah 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 coming from Sean V in a couple seconds, but we've been down this road before. Zack Wheeler's got the real matchup of today, so it's really hard to not get to him at an $8,600 price tag. Even $9,500 on FanDuel. He's the 5th most expensive pitcher today. It's hard to avoid. Really hard to avoid.
Oh, and my apologies. Miguel Cabrera does have 2 home runs. He got one on Friday. My bad.
Oh, there you go.
Might be he doubled his production on the season Friday.
As we move forward here on bats, I don't have a ton of interest in Spencer Turnbull, but I think it's fascinating that he's at 26% ownership. So he's clearly one of the key pay down options. I prefer the other guy that's chalky at the bottom, which would be Brandon Woodruff. But
see, I'm coming on the other side, and I'm going with Turnbull today. So my thinking is it's the hashtag LOL Mets at this point. They fought the good fight, Josh, for so long. They had about a six week run of looking like a real Major League Baseball team. And then, it all fell apart. Robbie Cano didn't hustle. Then he did hustle and put himself on the DL. And you've got Conforto back, but you lost Nimmo. Yoenis Cespedes out for the year, broke his ankle while out already because he fell or had an accident on his ranch down there in Florida. They're just back to the Mets being the Mets. And in this one, now Turnbull, a little shaky here and there, but he does have adequate strikeout stuff. It's a little bit above average. Woodruff was the other guy that I started looking at. I really don't want to poke the bear in that matchup. It just feels a little dangerous, but I suspect with Paddock out, Woodruff will probably creep into being my 3rd, maybe 4th pitcher. So he will still be in the picture, probably 20-ish%. But for me, it's Turnbull and Wheeler that I really like. Plus, you get the reasonably decent pitching environment of Citi Field. And let's just get a quick temperature look. Ooh, 83 degrees today. It's a little warm here on the eastern seaboard.
Yeah, it's super warm here, but that shouldn't be terribly shocking.
Or I guess we're mid-Atlantic. Is that right? I never learned.
I don't know. I mean, I am the eastern seaboard, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, because you're down there. I'm not that far
I can go jump in the ocean in 15 minutes.
Nice. Would you prefer the ocean or the pool?
I have not been in the ocean in 2 years.
There we go.
Yeah, I don't go. I'm good. I'm good. If somebody has a beach house that I can get to, I'm more likely, but I'm not fighting people for parking. Not for me. I don't have a ton of interest in bats on either side of this game. They're cheap on Yahoo, both teams. So in that regard, I think they're viable, but I don't have much that I want to get to. There's essentially no ownership going to the Tigers. There's very little going to the Mets. Are you looking to either team?
No. Now these guys are in the spot where I would suspect I'll come in with some 3-mans or some one-offs, depending on what you're doing. Wilson Ramos at catcher, he's been hitting the ball well lately. I think you can use him on FanDuel at 2,800. Yeah. We don't like to play catchers, but for the love of Pete, he's a decent hitter, good average, solid power, and he's batting cleanup for 2,800. Just don't worry that he's a catcher and go ahead and play him on FanDuel. But, Frazier's a shell of his former self. Carlos Gomez, bit of a mess. Hecharavia. I can't even say it today. The former Marlin shortstop is all glove, no bat. So it's really Conforto and Ramos.
Greg Bean says, I'm at the Jersey Shore now. Unreal congestion. Also at the Jersey Shore right now, my parents.
Nice. And my aunt and uncle, but they live there. So.
If you bump into my parents, and obviously you'll have no idea who they are. They don't wear like a I'm with Josh shirt or anything like that.
Wait, your folks didn't, they could go to a t-shirt shop and say my son ate 100 pizza rolls and all I got was this crummy t-shirt.
I do know that they can go to a t-shirt shop. The reason I do is because that used to be one of the things that I got every year when we went on vacation, especially in 1993, 94. right after the Bulls three-peat. That's the one that I got. Got Pippen and Jordan's head, the 3 trophies, Bulls three-peat across the top. It's a pretty sick shirt. Shout out to the airbrush people. I don't have anything else here in Mets Tigers. I think we can keep moving.
I'm good with that.
Indians and Rays, 4.4 run implied total for the Indians, 4.1 for the Rays, 52% chance to win for Cleveland. Trevor Bauer on the bump for the Indians. It looks like Jalen Beeks is going to be the guy coming in for the Rays. I do not have a ton of interest in Beeks here up against the Indians, although this is not the Indians lineup that we have come to know and love over the past year or two. Bauer, 30% expected ownership on the 2-pitcher site, 17% right now on FanDuel. Look, I like Trevor Bauer. He's clearly got a monster ceiling. He's getting more ownership than Justin Verlander because of that price tag, which I find pretty interesting right now. I'm a little nervous about it, but I'm still going to have some Trevor Bauer. The Rays lineup is solid from top to bottom. They have great righty-lefty balance. The concern is they do strike out a little bit, and Trevor Bauer is not shy about getting strikeouts. How do you want to manage Trevor Bauer here against the Rays?
Sorry, they're talking golden showers in chat there. Stingray? That's like a jellyfish, right? Okay. There you go. I don't think that actually works, does it? I don't know. In any event. Bauer, a little, sorry, cut you off there. That was a rhetorical question, I guess. Bauer, not really interesting me today. This is a much improved lineup here for Tampa Bay. I think bats are going to carry the day for us, and I'm just not getting there for Bauer. Arguably, he's one of the top 5-10 pitchers. I mean, he has been relatively elite. He's one of those guys that really embraces the metrics. A little less cute with the strikeouts than he was earlier in his career, but still gets a ton of them. I mean, he's a good play. I'm not really excited for any of the Tampa Bay Rays on the other side. If I was going to go with one, it would probably be Yi-Min Choi.
Yep.
Although, Avisel Garcia owns him with, 5 for 9 or something like that? 9 for 28, 2 home runs, and a triple. Yeah, there you go. Hashtag analysis.
There you go. Yeah, I agree with the Choi take if I was going to take a one-off here. I really don't want either side. Like, I think Beeks is good. I don't think he's particularly viable at his price tag, maybe a little bit more so on Yahoo at $25. But I think both pitchers are good. So the only piece that I really want to look at, Lindor leading off, I'm always interested in as a potential one-off. I just want to go to Bauer. He has the second highest projection in Alex's model, just behind Zack Wheeler. So it's surprising to see Justin Verlander be third out of everybody, especially at that price tag.
I do want to point out Bauer at 45 on Yahoo. That is an intriguing price point.
Yeah.
There.
He is less expensive than Jake Odorizzi today.
Yeah. So proportionally, that sort of turns my analysis on its head, and I'm making my 10 lineups. In that rake-free contest, Josh, they've been posting it almost within 20 minutes after a lock of whatever the main slate is the day before. This morning, I noticed it still hadn't quite filled when I looked. There was about 50 spots it filled by the time we got on the air. But keep an eye out, get in there, and get those entries reserved, because it's a lot of fun. And even if you can't get to it and you have to run a train, it's $30. It's not the end of the world there.
Yeah, there were 300 seats left when I just got into Slack this morning, and let the premium subs know, hey, they ran it again, and you better hustle if you want to get into it.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop the Spotlight Hitters and Stacks article, because in the second paragraph is the link to the Yahoo the Yahoo referral link and the instructions on how to use the promo code to get $30 in Yahoo Sports Rewards points on your initial DFS deposit. The instructions are there. Promo code AWESOME will come in on that link. Helps us out a ton.
There you go. Moving on to the Washington Nationals hosting the Miami Marlins. 4.5 run implied total for the Nats, 3.9 for the Marlins, 56% chance to win for Washington. Eric Fede going for the Nats, Caleb Smith going for Miami. No ownership at all going to either pitcher. I expected to see a little bit more for Smith, only at $9,700, so $100 cheaper than Trevor Bauer. 2% ownership for Caleb Smith in comparison to Bauer's 30, which I think is kind of interesting. I I don't ever think that those two guys should have that same gap, although I do think Bauer is on a completely different level as a DFS pitcher than Caleb Smith. How do you want to manage Caleb Smith knowing that he's going essentially unowned?
I love that. I absolutely love that. It's not going to be too hard to get over on the field. He was one of the guys that's on my tournament short list. He has an insane 30% strikeout rate across his 500 and change batters that he's faced since the beginning of last season. It goes up to 31% against righties, which is phenomenal. 28% against fellow lefties. The Nationals lineup, not overly daunting, not a ton of strikeouts in it. Yeah. However, but this is a spot where I think that Smith is the kind of pitcher that can just be a difference maker. And he is someone I am giving good consideration to as sort of my tournament swerve. So here's a question for you. I know you like to leverage stuff here. If I wanted to, quote, get over on the field, and we know, let's say he's coming in at somewhere between 3 and 5%. Is 15% enough? Is that too much on a two-pitcher site? Where would you kind of do that sort of line of demarcation within your formulas?
That's a good question. I don't honestly know. I don't ever generally care how much I'm over. You know, if I ran a crunch and got 40% Caleb Smith, I probably wouldn't change a thing. So I don't mind extremes on pitchers. I don't generally do much to my pitching side. Everything that I tweak is generally on the hitting side. Pitching, since I think it is a bit more, it's a bit easier to predict. I will let the data go as it lies for pitching and then kind of take the hitting as it comes out. So if I wanted Caleb Smith, I would have to manually boost him just because of the ownership on Bauer at 30. You know, I'd be fine with like 15 to 20% Caleb Smith in tournaments.
Okay, and that's when I'm getting. I'm at that point now where I run a ton of lineups like you guys are, but I'm still new to this. So I had a good little thing going the last couple of weeks. I've noticed I've started conforming to the mean, which is more or less what the field's doing, which is the last thing you really want to do, because then if you're with the masses, you're not going to cash, you're not going to go anywhere unless you hit the magic combination on one of your teams. So I'm trying to get back into understanding what I need to do a little bit differently. It was just why I asked that particular question, because this is like a perfect example.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is, like you said, is 30% too much? Is 10% enough? So just out of curiosity there. So.
Yeah, I'd like the idea of just switching from Bauer to Smith in like a single entry or a 3 max. I think that's the perfect place to unleash something like that. Because it's just such an easy swap. What time do they? Never mind. They both start early. Doesn't really matter at that point. I assume that we both have no interest in Eric Fede.
What sound do the ball and bat make when Eric Fede gives up a hit? I didn't set that up well.
I don't know.
Whap. Fede whap. See what I did there?
I wish that I didn't. I wish that I didn't.
That's for whomever in chat said Emac doesn't need friends. He has himself. Yes, I can find a million ways to amuse myself.
You ready for the really fun part about that joke?
Oh gosh, do you have a song for us?
No, not coming out of me. My wife saw him in concert.
Really?
Yeah, in Myrtle Beach.
Right, shout out to the SC.
Yeah. One of her friends won like 2 tickets on a radio call-in. So
there we go. That was going to be my next question. And how did you choose the concert?
Yeah, so they went to a Fetty Wap concert like last year or something in that neighborhood. It might have been 2 years ago at this point. Anyway, Marlins bats, surprise, surprise, little popular. They've been like a chalk E stack for, God, it feels like a week now. They're second in ownership, I believe. Yes, second on DraftKings right now. I'd assume either first or second on FanDuel. Let's refresh and check. Those numbers aren't right. Nope, they are tied for second. Look, I get why people end up on the Marlins, and I've had some recently too. I don't think today is going to be the day that I want to be with the field on the Marlins. I think there's enough options out there, and pitching isn't crazy enough from a price perspective for me to need them. Do you want Marlins?
Yes. And here's so I wrote this up in the Spotlight Hitters and Stack. So I said, once again, the caveat is that the Marlins are going to provide some salary relief, as the Coors Field extravaganza is once again on DraftKings Fantasy Draft and, of course, Yahoo. We've got, let me see, Fede has been solid this season, but he's been coming out of the pen, just one start. His career 5.8 ERA, 1.6 WHIP is more representative of his talent. Righty, probably lefties in righty-lefty matchups, he's not that great, but that really just gives us a couple of bats in Curtis Granderson and Neil Walker. Oh, my dog's coming in to say hello. We've got just those guys. I like them both on Yahoo at $11 each.
Okay.
And that is allowing me to go with the pitchers or the Coors Field game. So, but in any event, that would be why I'm on them. What did we have for the ownership there?
On the Marlins or just individuals?
Just the Marlins.
Quite a bit. They are the chalk stack on second chalkiest stack on DraftKings behind Colorado, obviously. And then the Brewers and Twins are at the top on FanDuel, tied. And then the Marlins and Dodgers are right behind them, tied as well.
Interesting. They're actually. Oh wait, I'm looking at Yahoo wrong. Oh, they're number one on Yahoo. For me, it's more salary relief, just those two guys, not really a stack per se.
Okay. Any Nats bats?
No. I really don't want anybody against Caleb Smith. It would be Rendon, and Soto's phenomenal in lefty-lefty matchups. But Caleb Smith, I think, is a budding young talent, and I don't really need to go against him. The Nationals got a bit of a respite yesterday with Pat Corbin going for a complete game shutout. So their bullpen got the day off, but they do have one of the worst bullpens in the league. It has surpassed Baltimore and the Mariners and fill in the blank, but they have a just god-awful bullpen to the point that Joe Ross Jr. was going to be a reliever, and he's been so bad they've sent him back to the minors to stretch him out as a starter again. If Joe Ross Jr. can't make it, how bad is it?
Really? Yeah, for real. Only guy that I have any interest in really on the Nats side would be Trey Turner, but I don't want to target against Caleb Smith. And I hope that I don't have a ton of Marlins, but I think a few Marlins in a cash lineup are perfectly viable. Curtis Granderson in particular. No need to get too crazy. $2,500 outfielder on FanDuel. $11 on Yahoo. $38 on DK. It's just not a bad way to have a cash lineup start. To the Pirates we go. Pirates 4.1 run implied total. Dodgers 5.0. 59% chance to win for LA. Chris Archer, yikes, going for the Pirates. Kenta Maeda going for the Dodgers. Neither guy getting ownership today. And I think that is fascinating to think about, knowing that Chris Archer is $6,300 on DK and he's at 5% ownership. What a fall from grace. Do you have any interest in Maeda or Archer?
So Maeda coming off the DL. Shout out to the Dodgers for gaming the system on that one. I'm going from memory here, but I don't think he's gone over 90 pitches, and I don't know that he has it all this season. So that becomes a little tricky to give him any amount of trust. Now, this was more, I'm being serious, and this is more the Dodgers were just kind of gaming the system to give him a break between starts. It wasn't anything it was a hangnail or my toe or something like that, but it wasn't anything serious if I was reading between the lines correctly. But I really just on the price per pitch, Josh, just not getting there.
Yeah.
With regards to him on the other side, Chris Archer, at the end of last season, I must have said it every time he pitched that, hey, when he's finally healthy, now that he's in Pittsburgh, we're going to look to him a lot next season. It's a better pitching environment, going with no longer with the DH. And even though Tropicana Fields is a good spot, yada, 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 he's looked horrible, just outright horrible. And this was a guy, 2 and 3 seasons ago was just strikeout artist. Not looking good at all. It makes me too nervous. And going against the Dodgers with a questionable pitcher, I can't advocate for that.
No, same sort of feeling here. The strikeouts are still there, 24% K rate. Like that's great for a pitcher that's 6,300. Like you're never, if you can get that kind of K rate there, but he can't find the plate. 11.5% walk rate. He's got a 1.43 whip. His FIP minus is 123. That's atrocious. Higher numbers are bad in this case. A 517 FIP just in general. What's this Sierra at this year? It's got to be god awful. He's just not the same guy anymore. And he's about to see a sea of Dodgers lefties. That is not going to help him whatsoever. Sierra this season, 4.79, a full run higher than any other season in his career. Something's not right with Chris Archer, and today is not going to be the day that I try to figure it out.
Yeah, 7 home runs in 35 innings, half a walk per inning. Strikeouts are still kind of there, but there's just too many base runners.
Yeah, it's look, if he came out and struck out 10 today, I'd be like, okay, Chris Archer has that in his arm, but it's been a really, really scary season so far, and he does not go deep enough in the games to try to save himself, at least not anymore. As for Dodgers bats, they grade out pretty well, especially on FanDuel right now. The top of this order, super cheap outside of Cody Bellinger, who's 4,900. And if you're going to pay up for anybody, I think Cody Bellinger is a reasonable guy to pay up for. I like these Dodgers bats. They're a little chalky, but I think it's a decent spot to be, especially if you want to try to get these lefties. Pittsburgh's park plays up a lot better to left-handed power compared to right-handed power, where it's almost completely negated. You want to grab any Dodgers bats here against Archer?
Yeah, I like the usual lefties. I think they're just. It goes without saying. Did we get that lineup? Yeah, we
did.
So we've got. Oops, let me hit refresh here while I'm gabbing away here.
Five of the first 6 are lefties.
Okay, that's what I figured it was going to be. So I wanted to see where Verdugo ended up, and he ended
up on the bench.
Okay. Oh, so BD's in. Where is BD's price point? He's a guy
3,200 on DK, 2,100 on FanDuel, flat minimum on Yahoo.
That's going to be rather helpful on DK.
Yeah.
So that's somebody I'm going to give some good consideration towards. Bellinger would be the guy, unless, of course, you want the amazing Max Muncy.
He is amazing today. I completely agree. Dual eligibility, 4,600, hitting second. I've said it before. All of my negative appeal to Max Muncy was the fact that he was like 5K for most of last year, hitting 7th or 8th. I don't want those guys at that sort of price at that point. But if you're at the top of the order and you've got first and second base eligibility, you best believe you're going to show up in a lot of lineups.
Yeah, was randomly, I think he ended up on like almost all but one of my season-long teams last year because I claimed him off waivers. Same thing with Caleb Smith, and it was a good, very, very good baseball season long. This year, not so much. But last year, I'll hang on to those laurels. Dodgers lefties I think is solid. What was the stack ownership? They're not sneaky, are they?
No, they are not. They are 4th on DraftKings. They are tied for 3rd on FanDuel with the Marlins. They're on
DK.
They're not chalky at all on Yahoo.
Yeah,
but they're also hella expensive.
Can I get a hella? There we go.
Yeah. I have no interest in Pirates bats. I think my 8 is good. Doesn't really matter to me how deep he's going into games. He's still good when he's in there. Coming off of a 12K no walk 3-hit performance in 6 2/3 against the Padres 11 days ago. He's really good. I don't need a ton of him today, just because of his price and some of the other options. But yeah, I also don't need the Pirates bats. Gregory Polanco would be the guy that stands out to me. He's getting a little bit of ownership as well, so probably not a spot I'd be looking to go. Anything else here in Pirates Dodgers land?
I'm good.
All right, we got to talk some big bats here. Twins and White Sox, 6.2 run implied total from Minnesota, 4.3 for the White Sox. Jake Odorizzi going for the Twins, 68% chance to win there. I'm going to whiff on this again, even though I looked it up last time. Covey?
It's Covey.
Okay. I get the
Franklin Covey.
No. What's the word for like when you enunciate on a particular syllable? I don't know. I always feel like I get that one wrong.
Emphasis?
Yeah, I don't know. On the wrong syllable.
Yes.
No ownership going to Covey. A very small amount going to Odorizzi at 8,200. You can go ahead and skip Odorizzi on Yahoo, where he's $1 more than Trevor Bauer, which is completely comical. I'm not much of an Odorizzi guy. I guess I see the appeal against the White Sox, but 8,200 is kind of like a no man's land for me right now. I'd either spend $400 more to get to Wheeler, or even to Marquez, who we'll get to, or I'd want to go all the way down to someone like Woodruff. I don't have a problem with Odorizzi because the White Sox strike out a bunch, but I don't think that I'll end up there. Do you like either pitcher?
I think with the Paddock news that Odorizzi is going to be in some of my plans.
Okay.
I'm just looking to see what the lineup is here. So you've got, Moncada strikes out about a third of the time. Eloy Jimenez does, but he's youngster and not a lot of at-bats. That'll come down a little bit, but he's still going to be a 25% strikeout guy. Shockingly, Luis Garcia strikes out a boatload. I would have never thought that, especially in lefty-righty matchups, but in his last 325 at-bats, he's got a 26% strikeout rate against righties. So not bad for a leadoff guy. And then Tim Anderson, when he's not winning Player of the Month and doing bat flips, Josh, he tends to strike out as well.
Certainly does.
For him against lefties. So by transitive properties defaulting from the Chris Paddock conundrum, I'm probably going to have some Jake Odorizzi today.
Yeah. I'm guessing that I probably end up on a little bit. I'm just not going to get to a ton of volume. Just a weird price point in like the smack dab middle of it, with my 4 favorite pitchers being above him in salary. He'll just get pinched out. But I have no problem with it. Grades out really well. Probably an interesting single entry 3 max guy to swap from Wheeler to Odorizzi, but that might be a bit too aggressive. Their ownership looks to be about the right sort of mix based on their projection. So
I'd be surprised if I got more than 15 or 20% Odorizzi. So it'll be one of those, just it's coming in because I'm capping Wheeler at 50% and Turnbull at 50%. So
if I'm doing anything in this game, here's the play.
All right.
I'm going to have a lot of White Sox bats, I think. Especially on FanDuel, where no one is projected for double digits in ownership. They're cheap, easy to get to. You can play both first basemen, which is always interesting. That helps because they're 2 of the few guys that actually have power in this lineup. I'll get to a little bit more on DK just because Odorizzi is going to get some ownership. I hope that Paddock pushes that up a little bit as well. This is going to be one of my shot in the dark type stacks today. They won't grade out all that well because of Odorizzi, but I'm kind of interested in using them in a tournament to try and get a little different. Any White Sox bats for you?
I really wasn't getting there. It would be Abreu and Alonso.
Yeah. That makes sense to me. Twins bats, very, very, very popular. Tied for the top with the Brewers on FanDuel. They are in third in terms of ownership on DK. Quite a bit further. Where in the world are they here? Why do I not see them on my screen, or am I just blind? Oh, there they are. Yeah, I'm just blind. They are second. God, I'm destroying this. They're 4th in ownership on Yahoo. That took me that long to figure that out, just to find the word Twins. I think those pizza bites are still jammed in my brain. Josh has no poker face. Play Odorizzi. I'm not even sure what that means. Do you think that I'd be trying to like flip people on this one?
So I know they love trolling you, but who else has their entire bleeping spreadsheet on the screen every single show?
Yeah.
You can look. enlarge the screen and you can actually see the numbers and you can see what Josh is doing. Yeah, because I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
and not directing at that particular one person. I mean, sort of, but glancing below for them. But the people that think we try to lead people astray.
It's so much work to do that. It's hard enough to do the work correctly. Let alone to set it up the opposite way and then do the opposite.
I want the people that bitch about the free article, mind you, Spotlight Hitters and Stacks, that my plays are too chalky. I'm ignoring the high run totals. And why would I pick that? Even though I described, why would I pick the Marlins? Because we want some savings. Why would I pick this team? Because you want this to happen. Why would you I've given you guys some good advice here. It's not just going to be the highest run totals, but that nobody's ever you can't make everybody happy.
Yeah. Adam had the deep dive either Thursday or Friday. I can't remember which day because he flipped it. It was a big slate, so it might have been Friday. And, he wrote up 15, 16 pitchers, but put a note at the top look, I'm writing up a lot of guys so that I can get some words in, but I'm going to put an asterisk next to the guys that I'm really considering. But I'm not recommending you play all of these guys. And immediately there was a comment on the post I know the slate's big, but you don't have to recommend everybody. It's you clearly didn't read a damn thing in this article. The first paragraph is the explanation on why that's not what he's doing, but he's just trying to provide more information.
Yeah.
Unbelievable sometimes. I don't anticipate getting to as much Twins as everybody else. And that really, really surprises me. On DraftKings, they're expensive.
They are.
You get to Marwin Gonzalez at 16% ownership because he's 4,100. He's priced like he's not actually on the team. Astudillo is getting quite a bit of ownership because he's got the dual eligibility, and
we need a catcher.
And he's a catcher. So from a cash perspective, Marwin Gonzalez and Astudillo are very high-end options because they are cheap in a high implied total game. That's what you're looking for. That said, I don't get the sense that I'll have as much as the public. I don't think it's going to be for me. I think that I would rather get different elsewhere. I'm expecting the Twins to be a pretty sizable fade in tournaments just to get different. Talk to me about Twins.
So I like them. I think that, yes, they are expensive and they are the antidote to Coors Field. So here's what my write-up was here. So I said, if Dylan Covey, Covey, now I just did it.
It gets you, man. It's tough.
If Covey was, I think it'd be better if I just say Covey. If I say Dylan, I just go, damn it, I almost had what the word was that we were trying to think of. I'm embarrassed that we can't think of that. And it's not emphasis. In any event, Covey, if he was a full-time starter, you look at his career 212 innings, which is relatively representative of a full 1 year of somebody making 33 starts or whatever it is. Yeah. Over his last 600 batters faced, he has a nearly 11% walk rate, just under a 5 xFIP. He's striking out just 15% of the opposition. He has allowed 37 home runs, which would put him amongst the league leaders in that category, and he is among the league leaders in that same time frame.
Apparently, guys named Dylan are really bad at giving up home runs.
Yeah, a career 6 ERA, 6. So I'm good with the Twins, and I understand that it's going to be expensive, but that I think is where you can leverage against Coors Field. Now, one thing you could do is, say, hey, instead of playing, Trevor Story, I'm going to play a Rocky stack, but I'm going to have Polanco or something like that. So you can be different in that manner and get a combination where people are like, well, if I'm going to spend on the Rockies, I'm going to spend on all of them. Well, if you just tweak that one guy, you get some differentiation there. But Kepler, I think, is continually overlooked, and he's batting leadoff. So we should see, maybe 5 at-bats from him. You're playing top dollar, but that's an exciting opportunity. Hopefully 2 or 3 of them are against Covey. And then CJ Cron is also someone I'm interested in for the righty power.
Kepler grades out so well. I expect to get him as a one-off on DK quite a bit. Leadoff spot. The $5,200 price tag is a tough sell, but lefty-righty matchup in hitting leadoff in the second highest implied total. The fact that he's at 7% makes me super interested in him. That's probably one of my favorite plays of the day.
Is he going to be your home run call of the day?
Probably not.
Okay.
He's a little lower down in the list than I would have liked, but he's not out of the realm of possibility. We'll see. We're tied at the top, right? Unless you got one yesterday?
I did not get one.
Okay.
I can't even remember who I picked. I don't even think they got a hit, though.
I don't know why I didn't, I played. I was online. Didn't make a pick for some reason. Actually, I know the reason, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, I'm expecting to fade the Twins a little bit, and that is not going to be a popular opinion, that's for sure. I prefer a different chalk stack, at least on DraftKings. I think we can move on to the Brewers and Phillies. 4.8 run implied total for the Brew Crew, 3.8 for the Phils, 61% chance to win from Milwaukee. Brandon Woodruff going for the Brewers, Zach Eflin going for the Phillies. Eflin not getting any ownership, and I have no interest in him. Brandon Woodruff, on the other hand, 10% on Yahoo, 11% on FanDuel, where he's priced like he should be. DK was just like, you know what? We're going to mix it up a little bit. Brandon Woodruff, 6,600. I don't know how you avoid this. He's chalk. He looks like a fantastic SP2 option in a cash scenario. He allows you to get to expensive bats like the Rockies or the Twins. He's just priced incorrectly. He's too good to be 6,600. That's all there is. I don't love the matchup. There's some scary bats in the Phillies lineup, but at 6,600, it just doesn't matter. How do you feel?
Now that I'm staring at it, I'm feeling like he'll probably be in more of my lineups than I initially so cavalierly said he was not going to be.
Yeah.
I hate going against the Phillies, but if you start to look at them, I mean, really, their fierce bats are Harper and Hoskins.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's certainly not going to be. I'm not scared about McCutchen yet. Somehow he got the home run off Chacin leading off. I did not see that one coming. Segura is a mess. And then you've got Cesar Hernandez. Don't forget, Cesar. We have not forgotten about you. We're going to flip that switch for you after the show. And Odubel Herrera, not overly scary. So now that I'm sitting here looking at it and the price and what it's going to get, darn it, Josh, I think I'm going to have to walk back some of my fervor for Turnbull.
Yeah, it's just hard to avoid, really. In Alex's projections, Woodruff is projected for 17.2 DraftKings points. There's no one above that number until you get to Zack Wheeler if you work your way up the salary tier. So everybody from $6,800 Danny Duffy to $8,200 Robbie Erlin, all of those guys are projected for less fantasy points than the $6,600 Brandon Woodruff. That's why it's hard to avoid him. I don't mind going different, trying to be different in large field GPPs if he's going to be this owned, but in cash, you're going to have a hard time finding a better spot. He's got to be the best point per dollar pitcher on the slate because somehow DK messed up and priced him $1,000 cheaper than they should have.
Yeah, all very valid points.
Yeah.
It's funny, and now that we've got 2/3 of the games under our belt, you can kind of see a clearer path that he's going to be a part of our days. But what it also says, Josh, is we can really get any of the bats we want.
Yep.
Today.
Yep.
Now, is it a bit of a dice roll? Is the pucker factor going to be high with some of these pitchers that we're going to take? Yeah, it will. But you get a couple home runs, and all of a sudden, all ills are forgotten with your upgrades. I mean, I had put up 248 on the early slate with a few of my lineups on DK because I had Renfroe and who was it? Myers and their catcher. So I had 5 home runs just from those guys.
There you go.
It it was wild.
Yeah. We've got a chalk stack coming out here. Didn't expect to see it, but the Milwaukee Brewers have the most ownership on FanDuel right now of any team. Ben Gamel being $2,200 hitting leadoff is probably helping. 20% projected ownership. They have 5 guys in double figures, Grandal and Hernan Perez at 8 and 9% respectively. I mean, I get it. I think the Brewers look pretty tasty. Since the Rockies are not on the FanDuel slate, judging by the projections that I'm looking at, judging on everything that came out from Alex so far, I think the Brewers are my favorite team as well. I agree with that chalky ownership. How do you feel about all of these Brewers bats against Zack Eflin? I
really like it. I did not see that one coming. Them being as popular as they are. But, I mean, Yelich, Moustakas, Grandal, those are just 3 phenomenal players. Ryan Braun can still get it done from time to time. Thames way down there at the bottom of the order, one-off home run upside. It's an intriguing spot. We know that Miller Park is definitely plays to the hitters, and yet another potential pivot along with Minnesota away from that Coors Field game on DK and Yahoo. And a decent spot in and of itself on FanDuel where you don't have that Coors Field game.
Yeah, not having Coors is monstrous. I actually have the Brewers grading out, looking at ownership and sort of the projections relative to salary, taking a look at where Alex has the Brewers, in a dollar for dollar aspect. I like the Brewers more than I like the Twins, especially if the Twins are going to pick up a little bit of extra love. They are kind of expensive on DK. They are kind of tough to get to since they go outfield, outfield, outfield. But I'd rather get to a little bit more of the Brewers. Surprise, surprise. I get to the Brewers a lot. But I kind of want to get there a little bit more on DK than the public is currently projecting. I don't get the sense that I'm going to have a ton of Phillies, but it's possible that that does happen a little bit on FanDuel, where Woodruff is getting some ownership, but I don't find him as appealing. Do you expect to get to any Phillies bats? They are unowned on FanDuel, by the way, and on Yahoo, and on DraftKings.
I think it'll be Harper and Hoskins, and those guys I'm guessing would probably come in on my trios or my 5-0s just as a little bit, or pardon me, on my 5-3s as a trio or as individual batters on my 5-man stacks with just a 5-man stack. Sometimes what I will do is I will run that one last, Josh, and I will goose a couple one-off bats that I really want just to get them in. I could see doing that with this pair just as a bit of a leverage play against the amount of Woodruff that is probably now going to be in my life today.
Good to know. Favorite Phillies bat for me is Harper, but that should not be terribly shocking given the way that this park sets up. But
never heard of him.
Yeah, just a guy, I guess. Alrighty, perfect time.
It's gonna make that Albert Pujols contract is going to be the Bryce Harper contract. I just want people to know that.
Neither one of those contracts will be worse than the Ryan Howard contract, but that's neither here nor there. Or the Chris Davis contract, for that matter.
Hat tip to John Wall.
Oh, yeah. John Wall says, hold my beer.
What about Josh Hamilton? We got some winners out there. Hey, real quick.
That contract will buy a lot of beers.
Yeah, good. Just poor guy. So I'm going to drop this link into the chat. This is my pinned tweet over there on pinned tweet over there on Twitter. It's how you can get into the Osmo DK League. That is where we were running some bonus contests. I'm not posting the links on to the contest out on Twitter anymore, but if you join that league, you will get first ping of getting into the contests. We are giving away for the winner a free month of Osmo All Access Premium. So you'll definitely want to check that out. Our buddy in chat says, I got it last night. The only request is you got to have an Osmo avatar. So I'll drop that link as well as to where you can get that. But if you are, what do we call it? Rocking the logo, repping the badge, something like that.
I don't know. Using our avatar is how I would say it, but I have no idea. We probably have some sort of specific terminology.
Illiterate. Rock the Osmo avatar. So if you finish top 3 in a contest of at least 5,000 people, you can get a free month as well. So check that out. It's good times. It's a lot of fun, and I will be playing Fred Van Vliet. And additionally, Josh, we're going to start doing some baseball ones. So we'll come up with some decent. Things that I have to do. Like stack the Marlins or something along those lines.
It's a good idea. Yeah. Fred Van Vliet's been very, very good for you in these past couple games, huh?
Past 2,
yeah.
But that's it. 3, I guess. But prior to that, the dozen prior to that, horrible, Josh.
Yeah.
7 shots, 7 made field goals across 12 games. That's not good.
Every time he caught the ball last night, the whole crowd was in for it, man. That is exactly who they wanted to be shooting. It was fun to watch.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Raptors. Alrighty. Astros and Red Sox, 4.5 run implied total for the Stros, 3.6 for the Red Sox, 61% chance to win for Houston. But before I go on, everybody that's here, hit that like button. Helpful for us. You don't have to do anything else. Won't affect anything you're doing. Subscribe to the channel. Why would you not want to know immediately when we go live if you're here? Helps us out again tremendously. Very little effort for you guys, and you get notified when we go live. So hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Both are helpful for us.
And if you leave a comment after the video is posted, Josh gets pop-up alerts all day about the comments.
It's also very true. I do get those pop-up alerts.
Get his attention. There you go. I've been logged into the account a few times, and I'm like, what the hell message is this that I'm getting?
Yeah. You get a lot. You get a lot for sure. Astros and Red Sox. Justin Verlander going for Houston. Eduardo Rodriguez going for Boston. Verlander, 16% ownership on Yahoo, 12 on FanDuel, 15 on DK. Honestly, I expected it to be a little bit higher. I clearly like Verlander's ceiling, but a matchup against the Red Sox is terrifying. I think I like him a little bit more than the ownership shows. How do you want to manage Justin Verlander in a matchup against Boston?
I'm really not getting to him.
Okay.
And that's all she wrote. Is he a good pitcher? Sure. Is he a borderline elite pitcher? Yes. Is this one of the more difficult matchups he's going to face all season? Yes. I'm not getting there. And this is not I'm not taking anybody from Boston either, but just earmarking that much of my salary cap is not really in the plans today. I may do him on one lineup on Yahoo, just because when I do my hand building of lineups over there, I could see myself getting in a position where I would want to do that, but that would probably be the only place I would get him. I'll be shocked if I get more than 5 or 10% on my stacks when I'm running my DK.
Okay. I expect to be over the field on Verlander. That scares me to no end. But I'm hoping that the implied total on this game is an indicator of where I want to be. And the Red Sox are hyper low right now. I know there's not a ton of strikeouts in this matchup, but I like the idea of taking a shot on Verlander if he's going to have depressed ownership simply because of his price. I'd rather pay up to be a little bit different today. So I am going to be taking a closer look. Hair in my eye. Closer look at Justin Verlander. I'm not, however, going to be taking a look whatsoever at Erod. Is EMAC looking at Erod?
Not at all.
Man, you're turning your back on your brother E.
I sadly I am. I generally play a fair amount of him just because he has the K upside and he's a talented pitcher. But basically, the Twins and the Astros are bleeping amazing against lefties this year, and I don't see a need to do it.
Makes sense to me.
Although, I mean, to continue thought, with Altuve and Springer both out, they're still pretty tough because Bregman is phenomenal. Aledmys Diaz is pesky as hell. Gurriel's pesky as hell. I can see him wasting too many pitches and not getting deep enough into the game, even if he has an okay start. Oh, Tim Anderson scratched. There you go.
Quick yes or no question first. Do you anticipate getting to bats in this game in any sort of bulk, either side?
Nope.
Okay. I agree. The top of the Red Sox lineup is mildly interesting to me because they're pretty cheap. Benintendi, Betts, Devers, Martinez, but I don't get the sense that I want to run face first into Justin Verlander either. So I don't anticipate getting here much like the public. I don't have anything else. I think we can move on.
That works for me.
Royals and Yankees. Royals 4.2 run implied total. Yankees 5.1. It's a 59% chance to win for the Yanks. Danny Duffy going for Kansas City. Domingo Germán going for the Yankees. One more quick question. Do you anticipate getting to any volume of Danny Duffy or Domingo Germán?
No chance on Duffy. Maybe on Domingo Germán. 75 degrees there, but pretty good humidity as well. If it was 85 or 90, I'd be really concerned about the increased home run probability just from weather factors. But looking here at the Royals, I mean, it's their best lineup that they could put out. It's just not that scary when you're looking at it from the lens of a talented pitcher in Domingo Germán, and he does have a solid above average strikeout stuff, around 25%, a little higher since the beginning of last season, which is a good thing to have in DFS. We're paying favorable or fair price at 10-1 on DK. What is he over here on the old Yahoo? He's 49. Not a bad price on Yahoo. If you look at it from Woodruff being 44 and Odorizzi being 46. So intriguing, but he's priced like Bauer.
Yeah, it's tricky. Updating these last two lineups. Orioles lineup out. White Sox update just came out. Do you think that you're going to be heading to the Yankees? 5.1 run implied total. They got some reasonable price tags, not getting a ton of ownership. Are you planning on targeting the Yankees? And if so, I think that's the perfect time for me to go fill my water. But if you're not, I can stick around.
No, we'll talk a little bit about the Yankees here. Not a
Hit me
problem.
with it.
So with the Yankees, the intriguing thing going against Danny Duffy is, of course, you want to take righties against him. Over his last 660 batters faced, he has a 173 ISO and 340 WOBA to righties. As I mentioned, more hitting conducive weather than purely neutral. We do have a 5 to 6 mile an hour wind blowing out to left center. So signs pointing in the positive direction here for guys like Luke Voit, Aaron Hicks, Gary Sanchez, and Gleyber Torres. Those would be the ones I would focus on. Of course, those are also the more expensive options. If you need some extreme salary savings, Kendrys Morales, 28 on DraftKings. Now you are going to be foregoing your first base position, but that can get you a lot of Coors Field hitters. So I suspect I'll be getting some Morales one-off action. And then I don't mind Clint Frazier batting seventh either. So those are just the guys I would be looking at. I'm guessing this is a 2:00 game, right? I just closed the wrong page.
2:15, yeah. Okay,
perfect. So I have a lot of interest on the 2:00 slate on DraftKings for the Yankees. I don't think I'll be alone with that, but they're one of the teams I really, really want to look at. I do want to point out that the Yankees are amongst the worst catchers at preventing stolen bases. We have not seen a lot in the doubleheader yesterday, but Kansas City does lead the league in steals, including Adalberto Mondesi, who is first overall.
I'm anticipating getting to like a solid amount of the Yankees. The only thing that's going to keep them down is the fact that Duffy's not getting any love. I thought that he might at that $6,800 price tag. But no ownership whatsoever. So I will get to a small amount of the Yankees. You know, Hicks at 41, I guess, is fine. Luke Voigt's been mashing the ball. 47 is kind of interesting. It's a tough sell just because Kansas City's park neutralizes home runs pretty well. So it makes me a little nervous, but that is 9 righty bats projected for the Yankees right now. It's going to be a little interesting for Danny Duffy to get through it all. I just hope that power is what comes through, because if it's a lot of doubles, it's not going to be all that interesting. And I don't have much interest in the Kansas City bats. I have some respect for Germán, but if I did need to get anywhere, it would be Mondesi. That's where I'm at right now. How many lineups do we need yet? One, or is that it? Oh, we're done. We just got the Blue Jays. Every lineup is now in. So shout out to baseball for being an hour early.
And the Rockies, which is generally rare for them.
Yeah, I thought that one would be like happening at about 12:55. Yeah, we've got them all in right now. Let me just update this last Blue Jays lineup so I have the exact same information when I'm talking. And then we can hop to the next game. I think we have 2 games to go. We've been getting a lot of Wrigley win games. That's not what's happening here. Let's head to Chicago now. Cubs and Reds, 4.3 run implied total for the Cubbies, 3.3 for the Reds. Wind coming directly in today in Chicago instead of straight out. 60% chance to win for Chicago. Jose Quintana going for the Cubs. Tanner Roark going for Cincinnati. Quintana getting low double digits in ownership on the 2 pitcher sites. A little bit of love on FanDuel as well. Roark picking up a little bit of love on DK. Nothing too crazy. The wind is certainly advantageous for pitching here. Do you have a preference between Quintana and Roark? Do you want either? Both? Neither?
I don't really want either. So Roark, haven't been a Nationals fan. He's a perfectly adequate pitcher. He's solid, but it's not an easy matchup today going against the Cubbies, who have good hitters up and down the lineup. I know Roark is going a little less with his fastball this year, and he's Adam was talking about this the other day. I think it's his slider that's up somewhat. So I'm just looking to see here. His strikeouts are a little higher than they have been normally. With 7 against the Dodgers, 6 in this matchup against the Cubs 2 starts ago, and then 7 against San Francisco. So those are intriguing numbers. He is a guy who I do remember once upon a time he had 15 strikeouts in a game while he was with the Nationals, and then it took him 3 or 4 starts to get his next 15. So not really going to get there. 2 o'clock slate. Don't have a problem with it. I also wanted to look a little bit here at Quintana, who is someone that just kind of gets the job done. Bit of an innings eater at this point in his career. Okay strikeouts, okay ground balls. I mean, he is like the quintessential perfect number 3 starter lefty. And just there you go. He's not taking a lot off the table. He's not bringing a lot to the table. He's taking the ball every 5 days. Looking at the opposing lineup here with the Reds, the Reds just don't have a terrifying offense anymore. I don't mind Nick Senzel leading off now. He's 35 on DK, 45 on DK, 35 on FanDuel, 17 on Yahoo, but leading off relatively solid spot. And he's a young kid who does flash some power upside, which was a little bit of a surprise. But Votto, shell of his former self, still gets on base, but he's a glorified singles hitter at this point. Eugenio Suarez is good. And then it just falls off from there. Puig, better in righty-righty matchups. Iglesias, if he can get on base, maybe he'll steal, but he doesn't get on base nearly enough. And then you got same thing with Peraza. It's like they're channeling their inner Billy Hamilton for that. So I think by default, Quintana and Roark will probably be 2 of my 3 pitchers on the 2 o'clock slate. I would anticipate around 10% when I run my crutches of these guys just to kind of square up some lineups.
Okay. I actually think that I'm going to get to a little bit of mini red stacks. Senzel, Suarez, and Puig in particular. Righty power plays up in Chicago. They get the righty-lefty matchup. On DK, these guys have no ownership whatsoever. 5% is the max going to Puig. So I like the idea of unowned, trio of Reds just because of the way the park sets up and their pitching matchup. But it's hard for me to really want to advocate any full 5-mans to either side of this game. Cubs are expensive. The weather is not going to be helpful. And, I think Roark is a solid pitcher, so he's not somebody that I tend to want to target against. I just really want to get some of those Reds righties against the lefty in Quintana. That's where I stand right now. So FanDuel people, you don't have to care too much about this one unless you're one of those savages that are playing the all-day FanDuel slate. DraftKings, Yahoo, this one's for you. I have not updated the line yet. Go ahead. What was that? Yeah.
Fantasy Draft didn't have it on their slate either, I was surprised. Because normally they run through the 4 o'clock games, but let me go see. Maybe they're doing something different. Oh, they only have one slate today that's posted. Oh well. There you go.
Make sure we haven't had any major line changes here. 288, 320. Okay, so it's basically the same there. Is it still 11-9? Close enough.
Yeah.
So here's what I've got. 7.5 run implied total for the Colorado Rockies. 4.4 for the Orioles. Yes, just in case you're curious, that is
7.9 now.
3.1 runs in my model ahead of Baltimore. A lot of baseball lines, well, most baseball lines, if you're betting the run line, is -1.5. They can do that twice, and still be the favorite. -3 for the Rockies is a beneficial line to the Rockies. Oh boy. 75% chance to win for Colorado. German Marquez going for the Rockies. David Hess giving it his best shot. He's $20 on Yahoo. I thought they stopped at 25.
I did too.
20. And you
Shout
know
out
what?
to
Still
getting
sucks.
a little crazy.
He still sucks. Incredible. So 23% expected ownership going to Marquez on Yahoo, 11 on DraftKings. I love Marquez on DK. I'm going to have more than 11% for sure. I think people are going to overreact to the game total, but not necessarily pay attention to the fact that the Orioles are still projected to be like average at best because of it. Give me some Marquez against the Orioles. Give me a lot of Marquez against the Orioles. In fact, because of ownership, you can make a case that Marquez is the better play than Wheeler, and it's going to go underrepresented. How do you feel about German Marquez here in Coors?
I like him. I think it's an intriguing differentiation play. He should go deep enough in games to qualify for the win, and as you pointed out admirably there, it looks like the Rockies should win this one. We've got him generally touching 100 pitches per start, actually more often than not. So your price per pitch really starts to even out somewhat here, which is something that I like to consider. And then we do, let me see here. How did he do in his last? He's allowed. Okay, so he did 1 home run in his last 3 games. Now 2 of those were on the road, but Boston and Pittsburgh, he allowed the home run in Boston. So he's just been a really good pitcher once again this season.
Doesn't walk anybody.
Like literally doesn't walk anybody. And, he had that just amazing near no-hitter in San Francisco. What was that? A month ago? Was it longer than that? Right. Feels I forget when it was, but that was an amazing afternoon game that he had.
That was April 14th.
Okay. That was was a Sunday, I believe.
That I can tell you.
Adam was in Miami, and he and I did a show, and we broke down the late afternoon slate and told everybody that we were going basically all in on, and we came up with this independently on Marquez, and I forget who the other pitcher was that day, and both of them nailed it. Adam had a 50K afternoon slate, and I did not win as much as Adam, but I did win very nicely. So we both had the same perfect lineup. His got him 10,000. Mine got me 100. So
yeah, I'm gonna have quite a bit of Marquez here. I love it, especially at 11% ownership. I don't care at all that this game is in Coors. Changes nothing for me. And I certainly am not rostering David Hess.
No. Unless he's playing the Toronto Blue Jays, do not roster David Hess.
So the Rockies are chalk. That should not be terribly shocking. How do you want to manage them in tournaments? Because obviously, this should come as no surprise. Anybody that you want to use from the Rockies is viable in cash. I'd skip Tony Walters. That's about it.
Walters and Desmond and Rogers are the ones I'm not really intrigued by. Top 5 guys, load them up.
Yeah.
Just seriously load them up. Want to get over the field if at all possible. Again, we talked about a couple potential pivot plays with Minnesota. I think, swapping Story for Polanco is a good way to differentiate your Coors Field stack. Story is one of the best hitters. This is a fantastic spot for him because Hess is giving up 240 isolated, 270 isolated power to righties over his last 350. This is not good. This is batting practice, guys.
Yeah.
It's batting practice.
I can't see a way to get completely away from the Rockies. I know I want to have exposure no matter what. They're just on a different level compared to every other team. Where I expect to get different on DraftKings would be being completely under the field on the Twins and massively over the field on the Brewers. This is a spot where I think the chalk is correct. I can't imagine not wanting to be here for a lot of these guys. I understand that it's going to be pretty expensive, but luckily, Brandon Woodruff is here to save the day with a $6,600 price tag. Here's the other. The other. Oh, I thought that was a joke sneeze.
No.
Bless
Turnbull. Come on. There we go.
Do you have any interest in the Orioles?
Not as much as I thought I would.
Yeah, same.
Just
VR and cash.
Yeah, the 4.2 implied run total feels a lot like a Camden Yards total.
Yeah.
And we're not getting Camden Yards prices per se. Rio Ruiz that can't be right. Is he really 3,400 on?
He is 3,400.
All right, well, there's your trade-off. If you play him, you don't get to play Arenado, but good God, $2,300 price savings. That's pretty phenomenal. Keon Broxton, I don't hate. His price is ticking up. Mancini, yeah, just the matchup going against Marquez is not great, but Rio Ruiz for the discount, that pops off the page.
Yeah, that's a really nice price tag for a guy that's hitting in course. It's as if they forgot to boost those Orioles bats. I'll get a little, nothing crazy. I would much rather have more Marquez than get to Orioles bats. Favorite stacks today? Let's sum it all up. What are you liking?
Well, I like Minnesota, my home run call of the day. Max Kepler.
There you go. I guess I need to make my pick now, huh?
Here's field now, Josh. No former MVP candidates.
No, I would never take anybody at Coors. I'm a man of honor.
Because this is mano y mano. Fisticuffs. Gonna throw hands.
Not liking a lot at the top here.
Oh, you want Gary Sanchez?
No Gary Sanchez. Comes in fourth in the model, though. I will, however, go back to a guy that I go to pretty regularly. He's a favorite of mine. Mike Moose Tacos. Come on down.
If it was Yelich, I was going to veto.
No Yelich for me.
Go for it. He's one of my favorite players to play.
Moose Tacos coming in ahead of Christian Yelich in my home run model today.
Interesting.
Jake Hari coming in with Eddie Rosario from the Minnesota Jakes, trolling your Kepler pick, so that's fun.
That's fine. Don't you mean Jake the Snack?
Yeah. Shout out to my wife on that one. Top stacks for me today: Rockies, Brewers, White Sox on DK, on FanDuel, Brewers, Dodgers, White Sox on Yahoo, Rockies, unsorted, Rockies, White Sox, Brewers. A lot of Brewers for me. That's the spot that I'm trying to get different.
All right, you ready for the rapid fire real quick? I'm going to talk about the late slate 3-gamer.
Have at it. And then let's get out of here and finish off our lineups for the main.
All right. For those of you that don't get this on a lot of the other shows, this is get a lot of good feedback on this one. I will also be in office hours around 3 o'clock if we want to talk about building lineups. This is your rapid fire 3-game slate. Look to the Oakland Athletics against Mike Leake. They have above 5.3 implied run total. And even though Chris Davis is on the shelf with an oblique issue, Matt Olson, who broke his hamate bone against these Mariners in the opening series, actually has 4 home runs in his last 38 bats. Kind of countering the potential sapped power argument that is a issue when you break your hamate bone. Stephen Piscotty was scratched Saturday with an illness, but he should be back in the lineup on Sunday. Those would be the main guys I'd look to, but also consider Chapman, Conha, and then Fagley if he's in the lineup there. Looking to the Mariners, going against Brett Anderson, I think is a nice way to go. They do really, really well against lefties, particularly Haniger, Edwin Encarnacion, Domingo Santana, who had 2 home runs yesterday. And then I don't hate Navarez, Vogelbach, or Bruce as differentiation plays for that one. Looking to, let me see, where was the other game? Texas and the Angels. Andrew Haney's coming off the DL to make a start. I think this is an intriguing spot for him. He's going against Ariel Jurado, who does not miss any bats literally ever. So you're going to want to target against Jurado there. Look to some Angels in your outfield. Cole Calhoun had a nice game last night. Mike Trout is, of course, Mike Trout. So those would be the names I want to call out there. And then we need pitching. Hey, no problem. We've got it in San Francisco. You've got Luke Weaver going against the Giants, who have a 3.4 implied run total. On the other side, you have Sean Anderson, who is very favorably priced at 7,600 on DK. That will be your most popular pairing of pitchers. I'm fine going with that and then tweaking different things with the hitters just to get a little bit of differentiation. But those guys will probably be on at least 2/3 of my lineups, if not more, on this 3-game slate. With regards to hitters in this one, potentially Belt as a one-off, and then I think that Ketel Marte and Eduardo Escobar would be the 2 I would give consideration to. They are not cheap on DK, so just keep that in mind. So this is more of a pitching game. But there you go. There's your 3-game afternoon slate.
Excellent. Thanks for dropping that in there. I have not looked at that main slate yet, but I will be in Slack for later if people want to pop in and drop some questions. MLB Strategy is the promo code 50% off if you want to come into Slack and you're not a member yet. That's the way to do it. Use that promo code and get 50% off any package you choose. Again, shout out to Yahoo for sponsoring this show. We really appreciate it. If you want to sign up to play at Yahoo, please click the link that I drop into chat. Use the promo code AWESEMO, and you can get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports Rewards points. They've been running a lot of management fee free contests. These aren't classes. So keep an eye out. Get into those. We will be back tomorrow, Memorial Day proper, to cover all the baseball. It's going to be a excellent baseball day. So tune in tomorrow morning to see us cover it. I'll be in Slack all day as well tomorrow. So if you want any info, MLB Strategy, promo code, come in, join us. EMAC, anything else?
Nope, just go to that pin tweet on Twitter, EMAC DFS, and get in that Awesemo league there, and you will get first dibs on entering into the contest. I've got the next one posted for the upcoming game 1 of the finals. We're going for a robust, I think I made it 100-man. That's already got 25 people in it, and I just posted it last night. So jump on in there. It'll be a good time. Bonus prize of 1 free month for the winner.
There you go, everybody. Do that. Thanks for joining us. Best of luck today. Hope you win some money. We're out of here. Enjoy your holiday weekend, everybody. Peace.